guys, welcome to my channel, Life Speaking Food. Good food for every soul and a word for every heart. Hey you guys, it's Chef Dolores, yes. And today you guys, we're going to be making one of my favorite desserts. I love chocolate chip cookies. So we're going to be making chocolate cookies. That means it's going to be a lot of chocolate. So the most important thing about baking is, like I said before, the recipe has to be exact. So if you want this recipe, all you have to do is send me an email or put it in the comments, and I would gladly send this to you. So our ingredients are very simple. I'm going to use all-purpose flour for a better body of the cookie. I'm going to use real butter, and I'm also going to use it cold. I'm not going to make it sit out to room temperature. That helps the cookie holds together and more stiff when you put them in the oven. Next, I'm not using chocolate chips. I am going to use chocolate pieces. They're like chunks of squares because I feel that it gives more surface area for the cookie and it allows you to taste a lot of chocolate. So this is not a milk chocolate. It's a semi-chocolate, which means that it's more bitter, more so than sweet with milk in it. So milk chocolate has milk in it, so this does not. So as far as cornstarch, I'm putting in there as well. That's going to help with the outside texture of the cookie, which is going to give it the crunch and also keep it gooey inside. That is what I'm using. I'm not using any baking powder, but I am using baking soda and I'm using salt. So there's a chemistry reaction that's happening when it comes to baking or anything that you do. So it's so important to make sure you have the exact ingredients. This is going to be a very simple recipe to do. I hope you guys enjoy it. And I also want to say, if you don't have a mixer, get you a mixer, because don't work too hard just doing the old-fashioned stirring with your hand. Just get you a mixer. You can get you a hand mixer. I have a KitchenAid, but that's a personal choice. It is a great investment, and I'm not advertising for KitchenAid by no means whatsoever. But if you need to make something for yourself, you want to have good quality items to make things with. So if you get a little $9.99 mixer, you get what you pay for. So I always say, if you are one of those people that love to cook, invest in some good quality appliances, okay? So we're going to go into the kitchen and we are going to make my famous own recipe, chocolate chip cookies. And I'm going to put pecans in there. Some people put walnuts. I've never done that, but to each his own. Now, if you want to make this recipe gluten-free, you would use almond flour. Make sure it's for baking almond flour. Read the directions, because if the recipe calls for 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, you're going to add more almond flour. I believe for 1.5 cups could actually be close to 3 cups, but please make sure you read the bag when you buy the almond flour. That's very important. So that will make it gluten-free. Now, if you want to make this a vegan, instead of using the egg, which is in my recipe, you can actually use applesauce. That is correct. You do not have to use an egg. And It also calls for butter, which is a very important part of baking cookies. You can actually use vegan butter. Now, you might not want to overmix too much when you incorporate the creamy method, but you can replace the butter with vegan butter and follow the recipe the same. So let's get in the kitchen and let's bake some chocolate chip cookies. Let's go. Okay, you guys, so these are the ingredients for our chocolate chip cookies. We have our all-purpose flour, some salt in here, and we have our light brown sugar, regular sugar. We have vanilla extract. We have some baking soda, cornstarch. We just need 1 egg. We have our butter. You do not have to let it get to room temperature. This is cold cut up butter. We have our toasted pecans and chocolate chip pieces. So I'm not using chocolate chips, but chunks of chocolate. See that? That is what I'm using. So we're going to get this all going, you guys. It's really simple. It's really good to have a KitchenAid. So important. That way you're not working too hard. You ever heard of that saying? Work smarter, not harder. That is what we're doing today. So what we're going to do, we're going to start off with the butter. And we're going to move this over just a little bit so you guys can see my KitchenAid. There. We're going to put all the butter in there. Look like some of it fell out. There we go. And then we're going to go ahead, add all the sugar in there. I use brown sugar because of the molasses in there, and it actually adds a lot of flavor to your chocolate chip cookies, okay? So we're going to get this going. I'm going to turn this on. It would be nice if I could raise it up, right? There we go. And the most important thing, we want to make sure that everything in here comes together before we try to incorporate anything else, okay? So that is what we're doing. And the reason I'm using regular cold butter out of the refrigerator is because the more motion that you use for this, it loosens the butter up, and it also helps the cookies hold better when you use directly out of the refrigerator. So let's just put our egg in there. Our vanilla extract. And we're going to let that all come together for a while. So while that is going, we have our salt in the all-purpose flour. That is our baking soda. We need all of that in there. So it's so important to get all your dry ingredients together. Very, very important. Now we have our flour, baking soda in there. We have our salt in there. Now we're going to add cornstarch. So important, you guys, when you're making cookies, especially if you want them to have that firm fluffiness and hold together very well. And all that in there. Here we go. All that went in there, okay? I'm going to go ahead and get that all mixed up here. And there we go. Now let's check and see how everything is coming together here. I'm going to bring it up a little bit faster here, so Let that keep going. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and add the flour, but we're going to turn this down. It's coming together, you guys. Remember, flour has gluten in it. Especially it releases when it hit any kind of moisture or liquid. So we're just going to go ahead and put half of that in there. Turn it back on. We do not want to overmix. That is so important, you guys, to remember that. Never overmix. So before I hit it all the way up, just want to make sure I get some down on the sides. I love making chocolate chip cookies. It's a process and it is a step. So you don't want to rush it. I want to put the rest of this flour in there now. Would have been nice if I could use a smaller one. There we go. There we go. So just out of risk of not allowing this to overmix, we're going to turn it off. And we're going to incorporate everything now with just stirring, just to make sure we have no white spots in there. That is important. So let's hit it just a little bit more. And that's it. That's all I want to do. I don't want to do too much mixing. I take this off of here, put it over here. I'm going to make sure we get all that off of there. And you want the cookies to come together. You do not want to overmix. You do not want to have any white spots hanging out. That's from the flour, not totally mixed in with the rest of the batter. That's not going to make for a good cookie. It's all about balance, making sure you have everything brought together. So as you can see, I'm just folding this in there, just like that. And you know what? A lot of people, they get their cookies all rolled out, ready to go. For me, I am going to put mine in the refrigerator for like 30 minutes before I even start doing any of that. Now, the chocolate chips that we had look like a lot. That's the whole purpose. This is chocolate. Chocolate, chocolate chip cookies. A lot of chocolate. And you see how hard it is when I try and toss this batter? That's good. That's saying that that butter is not too soft and it's doing exactly what I want it to do. Making me work. But I don't want to take the risk of over mixing. That's important. So we still see a little bit more white spots down there. Here. Now, when I put these chips in here, you guys are going to say, oh my God, that is too much chocolate in there. She got more chocolate than she has the actual batter. But you'll see the end product. So let's put our pecans in there. Look. Oh, Lord. Dolores, that's too much. But it isn't. You guys will see. So now, I'm just folding those in there. I am not going to get rid of any of these. Once I get everything incorporated, you guys, you'll see how it looks. It's going to come out fine. And you see how I'm getting them from the bottom there? Making sure I pinch them into the batter. And it's going to appear to look like more chocolate chips. But you're definitely going to taste that you're eating a cookie and not a chocolate bar. It just appears that way. So what I'm doing now, I'm just putting the chocolate inside of the batter. That is what I am doing. Yeah, I'll probably say, okay, this is too much work, but it really isn't. You know, I'm a firm believer. For me, if I want something, I'm going to make it myself. And guess what? It takes a little work, but believe me, it will be very well worth it. Okay, you guys, y'all see how this is coming together? And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave this right inside here. I am not going to take it out. I'm going to cover it up with some wrap. And I'm going to let it stay in the refrigerator for at least 30, maybe to 35 minutes. Look at all the chips I'm getting in there. I think I got them all now. Some people will take it out of the container, wrap it up in wrap paper. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But that's not what I'm going to do. So let me hold it up so y'all can see it come together. Okay, let's see. Give you guys a close up. Look at that. You see that? All right. That is it. I'm putting this in the refrigerator for 30 to 45 minutes. So you guys stay tuned for that. Okay, you guys. So we got our cookies out of the refrigerator. The cookie dough is out. So what we're going to do now, we're going to use this scoop. So you have to have a scoop that you're going to use because you want to make sure that the cookies are all the same size so they will cook evenly. So we're going to go ahead and get that out of there. So important to get these cookies same size evenly. It's going to be some big ones too. So we're going to get all of these on there. We're probably going to have to do 2. So most important for people who don't really cook or want to attempt to do this, this paper is not wax paper. It is parchment paper. If you do a wax paper, it's going to burn. So you have to make sure that you have parchment paper. And if someone's asking, well, why can't we just spray it? I would not use spray at all, especially when I'm doing cookies. I will always use parchment paper. And that's important. You guys see how hard and stiff this is? So we're going to finish getting this on there, you guys. And we will go from there. So you guys stand by. I'll get the rest of them on there. We'll get them in the oven. Okay, you guys, so I have 6 cookies on there. Do not press them down. Make sure they have distance from each other. And we're going to bake this in the oven on 375 for 5 minutes. So let's get this in the oven and we will go from there. Chocolate, chocolate, chocolate chip cookies. Y'all ready? Let's go. Okay, you guys, the cookies are done. So it makes a dozen. This is the first half dozen. The other ones are cooling down. If you guys want the recipe, send me an email or comment on my YouTube channel. Now, it is time to eat one of these cookies. The word but is a transition of hope for me, whereas for some it's a conditions. And conditions keep us bound as though it's a law, whereas hope frees us from limitations and sets us free. And that is where faith flows and love begins.